I remember my first appointment was such a nightmare. Like talking about Monte Carlo simulation. It was just like so bad.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Boom! Boom! Mr. Jason, I'm super excited about this episode because it's always awesome to have a fellow agent, a peer, and somebody that's in our part of our community, one of the elite dudes. Why don't you introduce him this time?
Yeah. Opposed to disappearing? You said appear.
Appear?
What's the opposite? Yeah.
I said appear?
One of the dudes appear.
Did I say appear?
Yes. But
yeah.
I digress.
Sure.
Mr. Eric Spring with us today. Super excited. Always a positive dude in our community. So we wanted to just dive in, get to know Eric a little bit more, how he's crushing it in his agency, what he does, why he got in, and all that fun stuff. But before we do this.
Yes. Did you like this dramatic music?
Yes. It's amazing. Eric, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Welcome to the Insurance
Love
Dudes.
it, man.
Well,
Let's dive into little speed breakers to break the ice right now.
Let's do it. And you did note that we were ranked number 1 by a very prestigious magazine. I can't remember the name of it, and I had never heard of it before.
Right.
I would imagine you guys.
And it didn't actually say 1 next to us, but we were listed first. So I take that as being number 1.
So it sounds like this information holds a lot of weight. So,
Absolutely.
Which is good.
Absolutely. So let's put you see, I know you're looking at me knowing that I'm going to push something. Let's put the numbers up on the clock that we don't have.
Ballin'.
And let's get into speed breakers here. Mr. Eric, have you ever had a mullet?
A mullet? No.
First crush?
Pamela Anderson?
Mine was Kathy Ireland. I had the Kathy Ireland pictures up.
She comes to mind first.
Yes. Then she talked and the voice was like, it was kind of weird. Most embarrassing thing your mom ever caught you doing?
I believe the 5th.
Okay. See, so we know that you're being honest. Anybody that says all this other stuff, come on. Fastest speed ever driven?
110?
That's respectable. You got to be in those triple digits. Favorite cereal?
Lucky Charms.
That's a good one.
Yep.
It's a wee bit of a good cereal. How many kids?
2.
Have you made cry? Please wait for the end of the question.
Have I made cry? Yeah, definitely every kid that I met.
There you go. Count Chocula or Count Dracula?
I guess Count Dracula.
Okay. Fastest mile?
Running.
We don't use units.
Yes, 6:15 or something.
Nice. Have you ever jumped out of a plane with or without a parachute? Doesn't matter.
No.
No. Okay. Best dinosaur?
T-Rex.
T-Rex. T-Rex is the go-to. I am a big fan of the Velociraptor, made famous by Jurassic Park.
I can see that. I mean, you can make the argument. I could go that way.
Yeah. Did you see that they actually, not to go on a total segue, but they've figured out where they are going to recreate the woolly mammoth. They have the DNA and they are going to actually make the woolly mammoth.
Is that right?
Yeah. Put them in Antarctica, apparently. I guess it's supposed to help with the supply chain or eco chain or something.
When Craig's on Facebook, he clicks on those
clickbait articles.
Breaking news. Yeah. So he's got a lot of great information.
Well, but then I scroll to the bottom and there's really good ads down there. So it's good for marketing. Favorite flavor?
Vanilla.
Vanilla. We get a lot of vanillas. Must be an agent thing. Dogs or cats? There's only one correct answer.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's definitely dogs.
Yeah, and you took your dog out before the interview, so we should have known. Tacos or burritos?
Depends if the taco is hard shell or soft shell.
Soft shell.
All right. Yeah, burritos.
Burritos. Oh, so it has to be a hard shell. Where are you located?
New York.
New York. There we go. New York City. Get a rope.
You guys got it tough. I can't wait to dive into this.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be fantastic.
Keep going.
Favorite video game?
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
Oh.
Yes. That was a great one.
So there was King Hippo. Remember, there was like punch, and then in the stomach.
Like two versions of him, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was an
Who was
easy
the one
one.
who was the one that would like spin? He was right near the end. He was really big and he'd spin. I don't know.
I know who you're talking about. I forgot.
Kind of like long gray hair, like Jason's, but long.
Like how
I can't
by the
remember. I
end
know
of
what
the
you're talking
time.
about. I don't remember.
All right. Well, somebody can text us at 520-214. Jason, what's the last part?
2219.
That's right. And Trump or Biden?
Ooh.
Biden, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
Why wouldn't it be Biden?
right?
Oh, boy.
I love it.
Yeah. You made
Eric,
it.
what was the first concert you ever went to?
Up in Smoke, Eminem.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. That's
Eminem,
awesome.
Dre and Snoop. It was pretty cloudy in there.
Did the real Slim Shady stand up?
He did. He did.
Oh, good.
Amazing.
That would be weird if he didn't.
Oh, so take us back to being slim and shady. How did you get into the insurance biz?
Yeah, so 18 years ago, graduated college, and the last thing I thought I would ever want to do is insurance. And then it happened to be across the street from my fraternity house, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. And
That was the first thing you did out of college?
well, I was in the industry, so I did like insurance and some financial advising, so like all in one. And it's, it paid me 25 grand, and the rent up in where I went to school was like $200 a month. I was like, this is great. I'm living like a king.
Yeah.
So that's how we got. And then I really liked it. And then I went to several jobs doing it. And I joined auto and home insurance about 10 years ago. I'm loving it. It's great.
Nice.
Where'd you go to school?
Binghamton. It's like a state college in New York.
Is it near Buffalo?
It's upstate. I mean, it's probably like 4 hours away.
Okay.
Close.
So for people that aren't from New York, upstate basically means just anything that's not the city.
Exactly. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. I got in fights with my fraternity brothers about it because I was like, listen, you live upstate. And they're like, I'm 15 minutes from the city. I was like, yeah, well, that's upstate.
Is it near Albany?
It's
Are
like
you near
somewhat
Albany?
close to Albany, somewhat.
Okay.
Remember those days in college back like a long time ago when, and maybe mine was earlier, but like when you had an argument, you couldn't solve it by going to Google. Like it was just,
That's right.
Well, go to the library okay, fine. You're right. There's no real like solve.
You know what the problem is, Greg, is that I'm so old that I find myself in arguments without thinking about Google.
It's a new thing.
Yeah. So
There's got to be a way to figure this out.
So what were you doing in the financial biz? You did that prior to home and auto and
Yeah. So honestly, my old man did it for a living. So he always came out so stressed out at home. I'm like, I'm never going to do this, but we just, we just have different personalities. And, it was right across the street from my fraternity house. And honestly, I was just looking for a job and I didn't think I was going to like it, but then I fell into it. I liked it and I kept it going. Still going for 18 years.
wow. So what exactly was that position?
Yeah. So obviously, Merrill Lynch, right? So it was like, yeah. So it was like they were hiring new, younger guys, and they got us our insurance license just for like, life and health and stuff and annuities. And then obviously they want us to sell stocks and mutual funds and all that stuff.
So it was actually Merrill Lynch?
Yeah.
That's where I got my 7. That's how I got into the business and met somebody that had an agency and
nice.
said, well, that seems better than getting yelled at and making 900 cold calls all day long.
Yeah. They were cutthroat. You failed one time, you're out.
Yeah.
You failed 7, it's over.
Yep. And you could milk it like at least at the one. So I think I studied for 6 months. I got paid for 6 months to study, which is just remarkable. But that was a beast, the 7, the options part and all that.
Yeah, I don't know how I passed. I could never pass it.
There's no way that I could pass that thing again. Although you did have a gun to your head. Like I had a baby my son was coming and it was, if you don't pass it, you're gone. And it's like, so instantly no income all of a sudden. And you're like, I remember like it was on a computer. Jason. It was not on paper, but it was on a computer, and you're in this testing room, and it was hot. It was like hot in there, which didn't help because I kept
the green light, the black screen with the green letters, numbers.
I don't think it was in DOS. I think it was actually like web-based program, but you knew your result like right after, right? Which was sort of new. Like it would always seem like tests that I'd taken prior, it would take forever to get the response or whatever. But you said, "Are you ready to see your score?" And then I put yes. And then it said, "Are you really ready?" Like it asked the second time. I'm like, well, is that bad? And like sweat started pouring down. Not quite as bad as an airplane, but almost. Like it was like pouring down my face. And I'm like, okay. And I did it. And then I couldn't, like there was numbers and stuff written all over the screen. I couldn't find it. And I'm like, where is it? And then like up in the corner, it said 73 passed. And I'm like, oh, like I made this very loud noise and everybody's like, shh. And then I got up and I ran out of there and, and they're like, "What'd you get?" I'm like, 73. They're like, "That's good. You'll do well." Because the guys that scored 90s or whatever, they're like, "You're not going to do well."
Yep. 70 here, Craig. 70.
Nice. You just made it.
Just made it.
It's so awesome.
That's why I'm still doing it, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, I think that there's a balance, right? You have to be just smart enough to pass the thing, but not too smart. Otherwise, you'll overthink everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were doing that. And how long were you at Merrill?
Actually, probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
Short. And then I moved, I'm sure you guys, what's that? Was it
the FA program where you had to gather, what was it, 5 or 10 million in 2 years or something?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh boy, I'm not doing it.
It is something.
So I moved back home, and then I worked for a company called Equitable, another insurance company, for 8 years-ish. I guess 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then...
with Equitable, what was the big change? Like, what did you learn from Merrill going into Equitable?
I just learned how to talk to people. Like, when I went to Merrill, I didn't even know what an IRA was. Like, I'm asking people for like $2 million, and I'm like, yeah, IRA, I think it's like a retirement account.
Yeah. Like, it's so funny because nothing. Like, I didn't, A shares, B shares, C shares, all this stuff that you're like, you don't know anything about. You're so green. And they're like, get asked, you have to go out. It's like every month you need $1 million. It's like, I mean, like, how am I, you're getting these appointments just by volume, right? Making 900 dials a day. So like with it, when somebody says they can't do, and that was on not quite one of these phones, but you're like punching the buttons in and you get one that was a maybe appointment and maybe they'd show up, but the minimum was 250. Like somebody had to have 250K. And in Tucson, like that's not just like every person that answers the phone, right? Like it's very, like even if you get somebody, they don't qualify. And so, but then you get them in and you're like, I don't know what to talk about. Right? Like you're so green. And they're like, you don't like talk about the stuff. And it's kind of the same things that we train our teams on now. It's like, talk about everything but that, right? You want to get them to like you. And once they like you, then they'll trust you. Exactly. And, but I remember my first appointment was such a nightmare, like talking about Monte Carlo simulation, just like so bad. Like their eyes are just glazing over.
Yeah. So
you're at Equitable, a little bit more. And how was that? Did you enjoy what you were doing? I did. I loved it. It was a great job. I ended up becoming the training manager there. The problem was that I had my first kid and the commute was like 2.5 hours each way. Yeah. So I ended up, my father-in-law used to watch my kid in the morning. So I had to get there at 4:30 a.m. to get to New Jersey at 7. And he's like, you look terrible. I was like, thanks, appreciate it. And so he's like, I own an Allstate agency. And I'm like, I'm done with like burning the midnight oil and working hard. He's like, why don't you come work for me? I was like, well, that's an idea. How much can you pay me? Right.
So yeah, we worked it out, and that was 10 years ago. So I started as a salesperson, and I bought the book of business like 3.5 years ago.
So how different was that from going from talking to people about their financial assets and relatively, a smaller subset of the general population that you can help versus being in this world of property and casualty where everybody's a potential client?
To be continue.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes, it's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now, live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.